Day one. Nobody claps for day one. There's no spotlight, no recognition, no dramatic transformation. Just you, standing at the very beginning, staring at a version of your life that you're no longer willing to accept. Day one is quiet. It's uncomfortable. It's filled with doubt. You wake up with motivation, but it's fragile. It feels strong in the morning, but by evening, it's already being tested. Your mind whispers things like, "Can you really do this? What if you fail again? What makes you different this time?" And the truth is, nothing looks different yet. You still feel the same. You still look the same. Your life hasn't changed, but something inside you has. Because day one isn't about results, it's about a decision. A decision that says, "I'm done staying where I am." And that decision, that's where everything begins. Most people underestimate day one. They think success starts when results show up. They think transformation starts when people notice. But they're wrong. Transformation starts in silence. It starts in the moments where nobody is watching. When you choose discipline over comfort. When you choose growth over excuses. Day one is where you build a foundation that nobody sees, but everyone will eventually feel. And here's the hard part. Day one is also where most people quit. Not because they're weak, but because they expect too much too soon. They expect motivation to carry them. They expect instant change. They expect proof. But day one doesn't give you proof. It gives you resistance. You go to the gym, and you feel out of place. You start working on your goals, and you feel lost. You try to focus, and your mind keeps drifting. And in those moments, it's easy to think, maybe this isn't for me. But let me tell you something most people don't realize. Day one is supposed to feel hard. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable because you're breaking patterns that you've repeated for years. You're stepping out of a version of yourself that felt familiar, even if it was holding you back. And your mind doesn't like change. It will fight you. It will distract you. It will try to pull you back into old habits. That's why day one isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel ready, even when you don't feel confident, even when everything inside you is telling you to stop. Because every powerful transformation you've ever seen started with someone who felt exactly like you do right now. Confused, doubtful, uncertain, but they kept going. That's the difference. Not talent, not luck, not perfect conditions. Consistency. On day one, you're not trying to become great. You're trying to become consistent. You're building a habit of showing up no matter what, because success isn't built in one big moment. It's built in small, invisible decisions repeated daily. And right now on day one, you're planting a seed that won't grow overnight, a seed that requires patience, discipline, and belief. And the hardest part, you won't see results immediately. In fact, for a while, it might feel like nothing is happening. But something is happening. Every time you choose to keep going, every time you push through resistance, every time you do what you said you would do, you are becoming someone new, slowly, quietly, powerfully. The problem is, most people don't stay long enough to see it. They give up in the invisible phase, the phase where effort doesn't match results, the phase where it feels like you're working harder, but nothing is changing. But that phase, that's where transformation is actually happening. Because real growth doesn't happen when it's easy. It happens when you're tired and you keep going. When you're doubting and you still show up. When you don't feel motivated, but you act anyway. That's day one energy. It's not flashy. It's not exciting. But it's real and it's powerful. Because day one is where you prove something to yourself. Not to the world. To yourself. You prove that you can start. You prove that you can take control. You prove that you're not stuck. And once you prove that, everything changes. Because confidence doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. Every action you take on day one sends a message to your mind. I am serious this time. And your mind starts to believe it. Little by little, step by step. Day one turns into day two. Day two turns into day 7. Day 7 turns into day 30. But it all starts here, right now, in this moment, with a choice. A simple choice that most people avoid. To begin, not perfectly, not confidently, but courageously, because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in spite of it. And if you're on day one right now, feeling uncertain, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like the journey ahead is too big, good. That means you're exactly where you need to be. Because every person who has ever transformed their life stood exactly where you are, at the beginning, with nothing but a vision and the decision to try. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for motivation to feel strong again. Don't wait for someone to believe in you. Start now. Start messy. Start scared. Start with whatever you have. Because day one isn't about being ready. It's about being willing. And if you can master day one, if you can show up when it's hard, if you can stay consistent when it's uncomfortable, if you can keep going when there's no reward, then day 100 won't even recognize who you used to be. There's something nobody tells you about the journey between day 1 and day 100. It's not a straight line. It's messy. It's unpredictable. And most days, it doesn't feel like progress at all. Because somewhere after day 1, the excitement fades. The motivation that once felt so strong starts to disappear. And what replaces it? Reality. You wake up tired. You don't feel like doing the work. Distractions start pulling you back. Old habits start calling your name again. This is where most people fall off. Not at the beginning, but in the middle. Because the middle is boring. It's repetitive. It's slow. It doesn't give you instant results. You go to the gym for weeks, and the mirror barely changes. You work on your goals, and nobody notices. You stay disciplined, but your life still looks the same, and that's when the dangerous thoughts creep in. Is this even working? Am I wasting my time? Maybe I should just go back to how things were. That right there, that's the test. The real test isn't starting. It's continuing when nothing is exciting anymore. Because anyone can be motivated on day 1, but not everyone can stay committed on day 30. This is where transformation separates people. Because the ones who win, they understand something different. They understand that progress is invisible before it's visible. Let that sink in. Before anything changes on the outside, everything is changing on the inside. Your discipline is getting stronger. Your mindset is getting sharper. Your habits are slowly rewiring who you are, but you can't see it yet. And that's why it feels like nothing is happening. But something is happening. Every single day you show up, you're stacking proof. Proof that you're not the same person anymore. Proof that you can keep promises to yourself. Proof that you're becoming someone who doesn't quit. And that kind of proof, that's more valuable than results. Because results can come and go, but identity, that's what lasts. Somewhere between day 1 and day 100, you stop relying on motivation, and you start relying on discipline. You stop asking yourself, do I feel like it? And you start telling yourself, it doesn't matter how I feel. That shift, that's everything. Because feelings are temporary. But discipline creates consistency. And consistency creates transformation. There will be days where you feel unstoppable. But there will be more days where you feel tired, distracted, and unmotivated. And on those days, you have a choice. You can either listen to your excuses, or you can listen to your goals. Because excuses will always sound convincing. They won't hurt just this once. You can start again tomorrow. You deserve a break. But here's the truth most people avoid. Every time you choose excuses over action, you're training yourself to stay the same. And every time you choose discipline, you're training yourself to grow. That's the battle happening every single day. Not outside, but inside your mind. And the more you win those small internal battles, the stronger you become. Until one day, something shifts. You don't notice it immediately. It's subtle, but it's powerful. The things that once felt hard start to feel normal. Waking up early doesn't feel impossible anymore. Working on your goals doesn't feel like a struggle anymore. Saying no to distractions becomes easier, and you start to realize you're not forcing yourself anymore. You're becoming that person. That's the moment everything changes. Because transformation isn't about what you do, it's about who you become. And the person you're becoming doesn't need motivation. They have standards. They don't negotiate with excuses. They don't wait for the perfect mood. They show up because that's who they are now. But don't get it twisted. Even at this stage, it's not easy. There are still hard days. There are still moments of doubt. There are still times where you feel like slowing down. But the difference now, you don't stop because you've come too far to go back. You've built too much to quit. You've proven too much to yourself to give it all away. And that's what most people never experience. Not because they can't, but because they quit too early. They never push through the boring phase. They never stay long enough to see the shift. They give up right before things start changing. And you don't want to be that person. You didn't start this journey just to stay the same. You didn't choose day one just to go back to old habits. You started because something inside you wanted more. More growth, more discipline, more control over your life. And that version of you, it's still there, waiting for you to keep going. So when it gets hard, and it will get hard, remember why you started. Not the surface level reasons, but the real reason. The reason that made you say, enough is enough. Hold on to that, because that's what will carry you through the days where motivation disappears. That's what will remind you that this journey is bigger than temporary feelings. You're not just chasing results. You're building a life where you're in control, a life where you don't settle, a life where you become someone you're proud of. And that doesn't happen overnight. It happens one decision at a time, one disciplined action at a time, one day at a time. So if you're somewhere in the middle right now, feeling stuck, feeling like progress is slow, feeling like quitting might be easier, good, because that means you're in the phase where most people give up. And if you can push through this, if you can stay consistent here, if you can keep showing up when it's boring and hard and invisible, then you're already ahead, far ahead, because day 100 isn't built on motivation. It's built on the days you didn't feel like it, but showed up anyway. Somewhere along this journey, you stopped counting the days. At the beginning, every day felt heavy. You noticed everything, every workout, every effort, every small action. You were watching the clock, waiting for change. But now, you're not watching anymore. You're moving, because something inside you has changed. Not your circumstances, not your environment. You. This is the phase where transformation becomes real. Not because you suddenly reached your goal, but because you're no longer the same person who started. The person on day one needed motivation, but the person you're becoming, they don't wait for it. They move regardless. And that's powerful, because now, discipline isn't something you force. It's something you live. You wake up and do what needs to be done, not because it's exciting, but because it's necessary. And that shift, that's what separates temporary change from permanent transformation. You start realizing something most people never understand. Success isn't about intensity. It's about consistency over time. It's not about going all in for 1 week and then disappearing the next. It's about showing up again and again and again, even when it feels ordinary, even when it feels repetitive, even when nobody is watching. Because now, you're not doing it for attention. You're doing it for yourself. And that changes everything. There's no more need to prove anything to anyone. No more need for validation. No more need for external motivation. Because the drive you have now, it's internal, it's quiet, but it's unbreakable. And here's the truth. This version of you is built in the moments nobody sees. The early mornings, the late nights, the times you kept going when quitting felt easier. Those moments, they're shaping you. They're building a level of mental strength that can't be faked. Because anyone can look strong when things are easy. But real strength shows up when things are hard. And you've been through that. You've faced the days where you didn't feel like continuing. And you continued anyway. That's what built you. That's what's building you right now. And now, something else starts to happen. You begin to trust yourself. Not hope, not wish. Trust. You trust that you'll show up. You trust that you'll follow through. You trust that no matter what happens, you won't go back to who you used to be. That trust? That's confidence. Real confidence. Not the loud kind. Not the kind that needs attention. But the quiet kind that comes from keeping promises to yourself. And once you have that, you become unstoppable. Because the biggest battle was never out there. It was always within you. Your habits, your mindset, your discipline. And now you're winning that battle day by day, step by step. You're not perfect. You still have bad days. You still have moments where you feel tired, distracted, even doubtful. But the difference now, you recover faster. You don't stay stuck. You don't let one bad day turn into a bad week because you've learned something powerful. Consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about not giving up. That's it. That's the secret. And most people overcomplicate it. They think success requires some special formula, some secret strategy. But it doesn't. It requires showing up even after you mess up. It requires continuing even when it's hard. It requires believing even when results are slow. And you've been doing that. That's why you're different now. That's why you're ahead, even if it doesn't fully show yet. Because transformation isn't always visible immediately, but it's always happening. And one day, it will show, not just in how you look, but in how you think, how you act, how you carry yourself. People will notice. They'll ask what changed. They'll wonder how you did it. But they won't see the full picture. They won't see the silent battles, the discipline, the consistency, the days you didn't feel like it, but showed up anyway. Only you will know that, and that's what makes it real. So keep going, even now, especially now, because you're closer than you think, closer to the version of yourself you once imagined, closer to the life you once felt was out of reach, closer to day 100. And when you get there, you won't just see a difference. You'll feel it in your mindset, in your habits, in your identity, because this journey was never just about changing your life. It was about changing you. Day 100. This is what you imagined. But it's not what you expected, because when you first started, you thought day 100 would look like a finish line. You thought everything would be perfect. You thought you'd feel complete. You thought this would be the moment where everything finally makes sense. But standing here now, you realize something deeper. This was never the finish line. It was the beginning of a new identity. Because the biggest transformation didn't happen in your body. It happened in your mind. Look at yourself. Not just how you look, but how you think, how you react, how you handle pressure, how you show up even on the hard days. That's the real difference. On day 1, you needed motivation. On day 100, you rely on discipline. On day 1, you were controlled by your feelings. On day 100, you control your actions regardless of how you feel. That's power, real power. And it didn't come from one big moment. It came from the days nobody saw. The days you wanted to quit, but didn't. The days you felt tired, but kept going. The days you doubted yourself, but showed up anyway. Those days built this version of you, step by step, choice by choice. And now you're living proof that consistency works. That discipline changes lives. That small actions, repeated daily, create massive results over time. But here's the truth most people won't understand. Day 100 isn't special because of the number. It's special because of who you became to reach it. Because the person you are now would never go back to day 1 habits, would never settle for less, would never choose comfort over growth again. You've raised your standards. And once your standards change, everything changes. You walk differently. You think differently. You carry yourself with a level of confidence that doesn't need to be announced because it's real, it's built, and nobody can take that away from you. But don't forget this. There are people right now standing on their day 1, just like you once were, confused, doubtful, unsure if they can even make it this far. And whether they realize it or not, they're watching people like you, looking for proof that change is possible, looking for a reason to believe. And you are that proof. Not because you're perfect, but because you didn't quit. That's what makes a difference. So if you ever feel like your progress is small, remember this. Most people never make it past day 1. Most people never stay long enough to see change. Most people give up when it gets hard, but you didn't. You stayed. You fought. You showed up again and again and again. And that's why you're here. Day 100. Stronger, sharper, more disciplined, not just physically, but mentally. And this is just the start. Because now you know what you're capable of. Now you know that you can push through discomfort. Now you know that you can build something real if you stay consistent. So don't stop here. Don't slow down. Don't go back. Use this as fuel. Use this as proof. Use this as a reminder that you are in control of your life. Because the gap between day 1 and day 100, it was never about time. It was about decisions. Daily decisions. Hard decisions. The kind of decisions that most people avoid, but you didn't avoid them. You faced them. And that's why you changed. So, whatever your next goal is, whatever your next level looks like, go after the same way. With discipline, with consistency, with the mindset that no matter how hard it gets, you don't quit. Because now you know if you can go from day 1 to day 100, there's nothing stopping you from going even further.